Welcome back to Comic Book Cafe, and this time around we're reviewing Secret Wars issue 5 of a much anticipated issue because a lot was left hanging in issue 4. Now, I've said this from the beginning, this Secret Wars is like the ultimate what if crossover series. That's what this is to me, and we start this book off with a lot of questions from issue 4. Issue 4 left a lot of things questions. First of all, we find out, Doctor Strange had his own place away from Doom's prying eyes. That Doom has kind of hinted that even though he's a god, he can't see everything. Like, he can't, in a sense, see the future, which is kind of strange considering he is a god. But again, if you saw the future, you get bored, right? We saw, that Doctor Strange actually had that raft that saved the heroes from the old world, which, does open up, and then he, sees them all, and you've already seen the decay of Strange starting to question what Doom is doing for a while now in the book. And we already know the Cabal Raft survived and they exist in the world too. And Strange decides to kind of help them. And so they go together. They end up finding the villains, of course, the old world villains, and they're all kind of fighting. And then, Doom eventually finds out that he shows up, basically to wipe them all out. This is his world, his reality. There's no room for any of them in it. Because he has the power of the Beyonders, they can't beat him. So when it looks like it's going to get really dire, the last-ditch effort, Stephen Strange sends them all individually to different parts of Battleworld. And, he kind of tries to appeal to Doom's human side. Like, hey, you've fought alongside or know some of these people. You know they're not bad people. Why are you doing this? And Doom eventually kills Stephen Strange. The only guy that's been with him from the beginning. The only guy who basically was there at the end of the old world when Doom ascended to God, was in the old world. They beat the Beyonders, and then he ascended to God and created Battleworld. And of course we saw Doom finally found out that Reed Richards still exists. So, this issue we start off with continuation of that. Okay, everybody now knows Stephen Strange is dead. Of course, they assume the rebels did it, as they're being called. They assume they killed him. So we see some of those ceremonies, personal ceremony. Susan Storm. I don't know why I want to call her Strange. Susan Storm, of course, part of the Fantastic Four, obviously in the old Marvel universe, for Doom, her husband, like a personal thing. And he says he kind of likes it, and we see that. But then we get to the start of the interesting stuff, where after that's all over, he goes to his daughter, and he asks her to go hunt down the rebels, find them and hunt them down. Of course, she asks him, "Why don't you do it?" And his reasoning was, because of what's happened in the way right now, he's worried. The way he feels, he's worried he'd break the world. That's what he says. That's his reason to send her out there. And, he asked her not to question it, just to go do what he has to go hunt down. She says, okay. So, after she leaves, this is where we get interesting. We have to fill in some blanks here, because after Bailey, you see an opening, a light underneath the Stephen statue, and he goes in it, and he walks through it, and then there is Owen Reece, a.k.a. the Molecular Man. And this is where we get to fill in a lot of blanks of what had happened. So we find out Stephen Strange had come into the picture for what Doom had planned at the very end of it. Okay, with saving the reality. We find out that this all started because the Beyonders, of course, are gods or whatever. They had created multiple multiverses, and they got bored. And so they were more interested in that. They were going to just basically destroy it all and start over again. So they made Molecular Man. Put one of them in basically every multiverse. Slice up a piece of them, put in every multiverse, and they just made one wrong calculation, and that was that Molecular Man lived a life, and he made a choice. He had choices to make, and that his choice was him and Doom were going to stop the other versions of him, and so him and Doom just that. They once killed, stopped the other versions of him. They made like a religion cult called the Black Swan, who helped out. And why they were doing that, him and Molecular Man made better versions of bombs than him to use against the Beyonders. So they ultimately had the confrontation. They called out the Beyond, them and Strange called out the Beyonders. They showed up. They used these better bombs to basically destroy the Beyonders, and they stole their power. Now, originally the plan was that Molecular Man was going to be the Siphon, and Doctor Strange and Doctor Doom were going to try to keep reality together, try to keep as much of the world together as they could. Stephen couldn't handle it, so Doom ended up doing all of it, and hence created his world and got Doom. And so we get all the backstory filled in rather nicely. What had happened, like things that had transpired that maybe we didn't know. And now, basically Owen Reece is hidden from the world. He's here away from all the world. Though he says he's always hungry he's devoured everything, and from the, tip of his toes to his, his hair, he's hungry. And you could tell him and Doom don't exactly get along, because their banter is rather interesting, because, there's one point where, like what if you were to get killed, Doom? And, of course, Doom kind of, really, I don't think really takes it seriously. But he says, well, what if it's you? And Owen Reece said, well, wouldn't we, both like to see that? That'd be interesting. So, the question is Molecular Man going to be the way this reality gets blown up if we get back to the old one? So let's go back to his daughter and her team, which includes Alex, of course. The son, which, of course, and the other reality is, of course, Reed Richards' son and Sue Storm's son. But this is where we get rather interesting, because she told her dad told her not to think, just do it, not to question anything. So we find out that they've been, for a year now, her team has been working on building this machine that could read the power readings across the whole Battleworld. And that at first it was really hard because everything's made by Doom, that stuff. But eventually they learned small power spikes, really small ones, where the Thors basically, taking off or going, being ordered to do something, so they would take off. And those spikes were the Thors doing whatever they were doing. But in the massive spikes were Doom, like really massive, like off the charts spikes where Doom's doing something. But they said what was interesting is everything in the world has the power of Doom in it, except Stephen Strange. His powers was void of it, and they called it negative, but Alex actually called it, I think he called it dark matter. So Stephen was void of any, Doom power. And what they found out was that Stephen was the one who sent all the rebels away across Battleworld with his power. That they know this, that he did this, and that, immediately they all start questioning, and of course his daughter's first question is, why is Doom scared of these rebels? And then you find out where they are and find out, what happened. That's what she tells them to do, and that she'll run interference for, obviously, the throne, or aka her dad, from finding out what's going on. So we have a situation where they want to find out what really happened, and they're going against really the orders of Doom himself. Now, the interesting thing about Doom as a god is he can't see the future. He doesn't know everything. Now, maybe he did this on his own, because if he knew everything, it would be boring. Like, there would be no excitement ever if you knew everything was going to go on. But they are basically, in a way, plotting against him, because they want to find out what really happened, and to go to any means necessary, also to find, the rebels. Now, there is a small, basically page that showed you where some of the rebels had gone to. So, for example, we know that Jane Foster Thor is in Doomsguard, easily to cloak her appearance because she's there. Though that'd be interesting to see how that plays out in Thor's comic book, because, obviously the Ultimate Thor's been hunting down Jane Foster, and they're supposedly all dead, and then she shows up, and maybe he'll eventually put two to two together there. We see Black Panther somewhere. We see Carol, aka Miss Marvel, basically looks like she's captured in front of Mr. Sinister. And then the last one is Thanatos. So you see him by the shield, and one of these big Thor statues with Thor hammers on the bottom of each of them. And you see him look around, and then you see him smile, and he sees, it looks like an opening or something that he's near the shield. And so that's, as my phone goes off, so that's what we see. Now, why is this significant? Because at the end of the book they showed in the cover of the next issue, which shows Thanatos fighting zombies. So assuming he's going to go out past the shield, looking for something, obviously. Again, this book did really not explain to you how this reality is going to end or what's going to bring it down. It's kind of left you almost in the status of the last issue, unless we can assume Molecular Man's going to just be the thing that destroys the whole reality, because right now we have no clues to answering how they're going to stop Doom, how they're going to beat Doom, what are all these, people in the old world going to do to stop this reality and convince people otherwise. Like, there's a lot of unanswered questions. Reed Richards was nowhere in this issue, was kind of disappointing because, Doom now knows it exists, but maybe we'll see that in 6, 7, and 8. We have 3 issues left now to basically resolve this whole thing in 3 issues. The end of this world and reality has to happen in 3 issues for the relaunch of the Marvel Universe. But, despite saying all that, I enjoyed this issue. There's a lot of cool, interesting dynamics going in it. The artwork was great. But I kind of would have liked more hinting at how everything's going to fall apart. Like right now we're kind of at a point where all these people are in different places, but we don't know. So maybe in 3 issues we'll find it. I really hope we don't get a rush job at the end of the series, where they rush to get to the ending. But overall I enjoyed the book. And this is a case, and I always talk about this, you have to read the other 4 issues to read this. There is so much to take in because it's the Ultimate What If universe crossover. There are so many different things you're not used to take in for Secret World and Battleworld that you have to read the 4 issues to kind of know what's going on now. If you want to get the true story, you have to read the other 4 issues before reading this. But overall, I recommend reading it. It's actually a really good, interesting crossover. This is more one that makes you think than, I would say, a lot of action in a lot of ways. But again, I think part of the reason why this appeals to a lot of people, it is new. Like, this is a new take on everything. If this was the regular old, I think people would be more upset we're at issue 5, what's going on. But anyway, I enjoyed it. So, love to hear your guys' opinions of Secret Wars issue 5. Have you liked where it's going so far? Have you liked the first 5 issues of this? Or are you kind of getting worried that we're down to 3 issues and we really have not seen the real way to rectify all this? Again, unless we're talking Molecular Man is involved somehow. Anyway, love to hear your guys' opinions like always, and I'll review another comic book soon. Later, guys.